There used to be a time not so long ago where doing your admin was tough. Customers throwing bags and boxes full of invoices and receipts at their accountants, it was chaos. While the world around us became more digital, new challenges in the land of accounting arose. Challenges such as organizing the huge amount of documents coming from different sources in various formats. Yet somehow all of this data did seem to get perfectly organized. In an almost magical way, automatic and intelligent transactions being pushed in real time into financial systems like Twinfield, Xero, and Sage, as well as capturing receipts and expenses on the go, and staying in control with an outstanding workflow for approving invoices. Now, what made all this possible? What is their secret? Basecone, where accounting magic happens.
Today is the first day of what yesterday we called the future. It's inevitable. And like the future, unpredictable, unstoppable. But there is one thing that we know. We're changing it now. Taking action to build the tomorrow we want. A new energy on the planet. More inclusive, shared, greener. It's in our hands. You can only change the world if you can change yourself. If you can find the will, the know, and the how. Because that's our story. To always discover a new ambition. EDP is using the power of wind, sun, and water to be 100% green and to support those who today are already changing tomorrow. EDP, changing tomorrow now.
Hey everyone, welcome to our third live session of WDL22. In case we forgot who we are, my name is Miguel. I'm tuning in from France and I'll be one of your hosts today. And as usual, here with me I have Leon, Fabiana, and Alex. Leon, how's it going over there?
Good. It's actually, funny enough, pretty sunny day for Belgium, which is something not we're that much used to. And yes, I'm joining all the way from Antwerp, and it's a pleasure to be here again.
That's great. Fabiana, what about you?
I'm in Lisbon and also sunny here, but not that rare, I guess. So we're the lucky ones, but also very happy to be here today again.
Lisbon never disappoints. Alex, last but not least.
Yeah, Warsaw is actually full spring on mode right now, so we're very happy and great to be here as well.
Okay,
This
okay,
is like
awesome.
the weather section of WDL. It's like, how's the weather in the world?
Except that we never get it wrong because it's happening right now. Okay, cool. I mean, good to see you guys back. It's been a month. And I mean, I guess there's no point in delaying it any longer. Stage 2 is officially finished, which also marks the end of the stage phase of WDL and the beginning of the semifinals. But let's not spoil too much of that. There's a lot to be said in the second part. For this stage 2, it was 3 long weeks of work for everyone, participants, mentors, jury, organizers as well. So I just like to say congratulations. Congratulations to all the teams for getting this far. It was honestly a big achievement. Now, I know you're all super excited to know who the winners of stage 2 are, and also who are the top 15 teams that will go on to the semifinals. And we will announce that right after we do our WDL show. That comes first. And like last month, we have several guests live with us today. These are people who one way or another collaborate with the World Data League to make sure that we provide our participants with the best possible experience. Last month, we have Cristina Callier, one of the WDL mentors, and we also had Paula Fernandez and Paula Garcia from our external competition partner, NewSet Dataton. But this time we have a different squad tuning in, right, Fabiana?
Yeah. So this time we have Henk van Dijk. He's a lead machine learning engineering at SaltPay. And SaltPay, as you know, is a WDL partner. And he's also a mentor in jury. So he couldn't be more implicated in this edition than he is. And after we have another mentor in jury, Floris Goys. I'm not sure if I'm saying the last name right. And he's a lead data scientist and also very active during this edition. So it should be fun and interesting.
Awesome. I have to admit, I'm looking forward to chatting with this group today. It's going to be exciting. Let's start by welcoming Henk from SaltPay. Like Fabiana said, Henk, how are things going over there?
Hey there. Thanks for the introduction. It's going quite well. Sunny day in Porto.
I'll start with the usual one that we always ask our partners. Why WDL and not something else, Henk?
Sure thing. Yeah. So I think well, SaltPay is quite new, and we haven't done any competitions in the past. When we came across the WDL framework at what you guys are doing, we were quite interested. I know this is the second time you're running this, and we were just quite interested in getting our data scientists to collaborate with up and coming data scientists. It's always interesting to learn what other people are doing.
Okay, cool. You're talking about data scientists, and in our first live session, we presented a little bit about the seniority level of our participants this year. We know some of them might be actively looking for jobs. So let me ask you this: what are you, or what is SaltPay usually looking for when they hire data scientists? What type of profile are you more targeted on?
It's quite interesting. I find that we have a lot of different applicants based on whatever titles we have. At SaltPay, we not only on seniority, but on the way of thinking, we hire people into different roles. So as machine learning engineers, so that would be a data scientist with strong engineering capabilities. We have domain expertise data scientists that, let's say you are good at, if your classifications is something that you're really interested in, or time series models are what your specialty is, we have different projects for those. So actually, honestly, across the board, we have multiple products and multiple domains that we serve. So our main thing is people that are honestly interested in what they're doing. We don't want people that just fit the bill theoretically, but should have a passion for what they're doing. And if we don't have passion in our team, then there's no value actually to be had other than some theoretical knowledge coming through.
Great. And what is remarkable about SaltPay? You were talking about passion. Is it a passionate place and work environment?
Absolutely. So I think SaltPay aims to like bring up merchants. Our product is aimed at helping small merchants to get to the level that the big SMEs are, and in that sense, it's quite nice. We quite often interact with users of our models, which are not just our business but the merchants, and in that sense, you immediately get to understand how your work is impacting someone. I'm not trying to like sell it as a NGO and you're helping the world, but it is great to see that the effort that you put in actually pays off and it helps someone else, whether it be financially or just making admin less for them. That's something I find really, I have a passion for that, for helping the merchants and not just trying to drive revenue from that. And that's something I haven't found before. In other fintechs, you quite often just get credit risk models and how can we squeeze get the highest lifetime value out of a customer. For us, it's more about how do we service this merchant, and that is our ground truth, our true north always, and that speaks to data science quite well, because we are impacting a lot of behaviors and we want to do that for the better.
Yeah, no, you touched a really good point about the more like mission-driven approach, especially nowadays that people usually tend to look for job positions that give more of that like mission-driven context rather than just it's this role, you do this task, you get paid this amount.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that it's good to hear that, especially from a fintech company where it's usually more complicated to explain those concepts, without sounding too passionate. Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah. Hank, I have another question. What do data scientists usually do at your company? Are they more like focused on product? Are they a core part of the product development? Are they more support? Is it both?
So our data science team is about 9 months old. We have some good leadership, but we're still young. So at the moment, we're definitely a product house. We're driving to get the data, the business data driven, and the only way to do that is through data science and explaining how people should think. So we attack this by building out products, and to build a product, you first have to understand definitions of, let's say, churn risk or recommendation engines. You need to understand what your definition is. So we try to get data scientists to get deep into domain expertise and help operational teams understand how they should think data-driven. So that might be a bit of a service side, and then the rest of it is only product. It's very much project-related. We try to have at least 2 people per project. Some people overlap. Yeah.
Okay. We mentioned in the beginning that you were also a mentor, part of the mentors and jury team of WDL. What are you, when you're looking at these teams that are participating in WDL, what are you usually optimizing for, or what type of profiles are you looking for?
Maybe okay, I'm unsure about the question. Like when I'm optimizing for the like when I'm looking at teams specifically to see what they need to be the best at to excel, or on a code level itself, like whether they think differently.
I guess we can go with the first one. Yeah, already there.
Okay, so I think to optimize, like firstly, like to be a good data scientist, there are easy traps to fall into, and if someone does not do that, that's already half the battle won. We have a lot of theoretically strong people, but because they think at a very high level, the base level sometimes falls through. So if people do not make simple mistakes, that's already, for me, that's a very strong profile to have. You want people to be very solid on their basics. And then secondly, it's different thinking. I've seen some really intuitive, it might not be how you look into the data, but how you explain it to others. And that has a very high business value, regardless of whether a model is highly performant. If the business doesn't understand how to use it or how it works, you don't have to go down to feature importance or anything, but you have to at least get a person to understand why a machine can learn something specific. So those are two parts that are really stand out to me, which have high business value. I'm not a statistician or a mathematician, but on a business side, that's what I understand. And if you can give value to the business and make people understand things, that's the optimal thing to focus on.
Okay, cool. Fabian, any questions from your side? I know that this we might be getting too technical, but I mean, I'm fine if you have any other question.
No, sorry, I was just thinking. It was a lot of info and very interesting, but I just got lost with the conversation.
Okay, cool. Well, anyway, we're almost running out of time. Henk, I'll let you have the final word, and then we'll go to.
You want me to sell SaltPay or sell myself? What are we selling? No, I'm joking. Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to you guys for organizing this. It's been really interesting to see how participants actually like how people think. It's the thing that I've seen that I've been the most excited about is the data scientists in my team come back to me and they tell me, look at this, and they're excited. And it's amazing to see how hard work and excitement about what people are doing in this competition is translated into other people. Like it's, I don't know what the correct word is, but it excites people, and that's lovely to see.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear, Henk. Thanks for those words. That was great. For the participants who are tuning in, Henk, mentor and jury, obviously, but if you're looking for something new in your career, just advice. Henk, I hope I'm not selling you too much or too much of your time, but Henk is available to talk to you directly. Just hit him up on Discord. Thank you very much, Henk. It's great to have you.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, that was great. Now we're moving on to the second part of our WDL show. And like Fabiana said in the beginning, we have Floris, who's a mentor and jury at WDL. Floris, are you there with us? How's it going?
I'm here. Yeah, it's going great. Sunny here as well. I'm afraid it's the same everywhere, but it's going great.
It's the pattern. We're recognizing a pattern here.
Definitely.
Tell us a little bit about your experience so far with WDL.
Yeah, to be honest, it's been a great experience. I think the first thing to say is a big thanks to you as well as the organizers for hosting such a great event. To be honest, I'm amazed by it. It's kind of a roller coaster with the two stages that go by so fast, really, with teams really going down the wire to submit some great solutions. But yeah, it's been a great experience, to be honest.
Great. Is this your first time mentoring at the competition, Floris?
It's my first time mentoring in WDL. I have been part of hackathons before, but I think not over such a, let's say, more extensive period of time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was asking if you have another one to compare, like what is different about this one, because it's also not common to be that long.
No, exactly. So that's what I would say, to be honest, that I think the learning experience for participants as well as for mentors, to be honest, because I learned quite a lot myself from being involved with these teams and mentoring them. It's always a learning experience for yourself as well, I think. And most competitions I have been part of are more about the competition rather than about, the prolonged learning process. I think that's, for me, that's a unique aspect of WDL.
I have a question about the learning part, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I see it, I think the mentoring sessions play a really big part of these interactions that the mentors get with the teams. How do you usually run your mentoring sessions? What's usually the flow of it?
So it depends a bit on the question of the team and the stage at which they plan their mentoring session, right? Whether it's really in the beginning or really in the end. But what I try to do is well, give them, or I look at it the same way I do in my daily work, where I try to bring them the expertise that I also bring in the work that I do, which is really asking them questions about, all right, how are you going to bring this to the end? Providing, some additional. I don't try to bring my ideas. I just try to ask them questions that basically makes them think about what they're doing, right? And gives them maybe some inspiration for new ideas. So that's typically they present their work so far, and then I try to ask them some questions, especially on the application of their model, not necessarily the technical parts, but really, as Hank was saying as well, really about the business value and how you are going to bring this to a concept of a product, really.
And how's the response been going from the teams in your mentoring sessions?
Pretty well, I must say. So what stood out for me in the second stage is also the improvement as compared to the first stage, where you really see the steep learning curve by teams, which is amazing. If you it's such a short time frame, right? Like it's stage 1 of 3 weeks and a stage 2 of 3 weeks. Exactly. If you look at the progress that teams make, that's amazing. And I think the response is great, to be honest. All teams I've spoken to are really open to feedback. And they take it at heart and learn from it. That's what I see.
Yeah, we also saw an improvement in the points of the teams. For example, we definitely saw an increase in the quality from one stage to the other.
Yeah, that's what I experienced as well. Of course, my sample size is only 4 teams as a judge, right? Where I evaluate 4 submissions. But I think my average score that I gave as a juror in this second stage was definitely increased as compared to the first stage.
Okay, cool.
Perfect, amazing. Floris, we saw your thread on Twitter about high performance teams, and it's very interesting. So it's like the commercial part. Everyone follow Floris on Twitter. It's worth it. Maybe you can share some of these tips you're tweeting about these type of performance teams.
Yeah, so a little bit of my background. I've been in academics before, and now I've been part of startups. So basically, I'm in the business of SaaS products. So I typically work as a data scientist with my team in a development team, which means that my daily work looks a lot like what the teams are faced with, right? Really relatively short bursts of getting something to work in a product, selling it to internal stakeholders or external stakeholders. So I can really relate to what they're doing. And I think, and that's also what you refer to, the main thing for me is that if you put a group of smart people together, there's always great ideas, right? There's never a shortage of ideas, but that's also the main challenge. And that's also what I saw in the teams I mentored, that there's so many ideas, but the key is like, all right, what are you going to go for? And when are you just going to call it a day and say, all right, no more new ideas? This is what we're going to work with, and now we're going to bring it to a product. And I think that's also what I experience in my work, that you're really the difference maker for me, for a high performance team, is really being able to go from an idea to an actual concept and put it in an MVP version of a product and then bring it to the business. That's really one of the key points for me. And maybe the main other point really is, I lead a team in my work, but that's different than like being a supervisor. I really feel that being a high performing team is all about doing it together, right? So everybody should feel comfortable to speak up, be critical, take the lead in something. So that's for me, like leadership is something else than having a team leader, really. So that those are two of the main things, I think, when it comes to being high performant as a team.
With Floris, with these teams, have you found what's your gauge in terms of their high performance status right now? Have you found that you sometimes need to push them towards having that more end-to-end perspective? If you hear
no worries. I don't feel that I need to push them too much, but I need to. So I need, in a sense, I need to push them to applying their product in reality, right? So that's what the ideas I was talking about. So I really try to play the business role when I mentor. So I know that if I talk to the business end of my company, I should leave all technical terminology out of there. The moment I talk about 10,000 simulation runs and clustering versus classification, I'll typically lose the sales guys, right? So they're not in the market for a model, they're in the market for a product, basically, and for insights. And that's what I push for in mentoring, basically. But I think that's the only pushing that I really need to do, because the ambition is already there and the energy is really there. So there's no need to push it, to push that aspect, so to say.
Awesome. Great insights, Floris. Thank you so much. We're running out of time, so we need to move on. But Floris, let me thank you for being present here with us today. And I want to let the teams know that Floris is continuing on to the semifinals. So it won't be the last time that we see of him. So yeah, awesome. Thanks, Floris, for tuning in.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so now it's time for the leaderboards. We're going for a short break, and then we come back. So see you in a bit. Okay, we're back. I told you it was going to be short. I'm here again, this time with Alex. Alex, what's going to happen now? this session?
Well, Miguel, before we go to the main part of all that everyone is waiting for, I just want to quickly announce the leaderboard of the activities. So first of all, congrats to winners of the scavenger hunt activity, so stage 2, Cape Team, who also won the first stage activity. And in a moment, we will see first 3 places of the overall activities leaderboard. But before that, just a small note, we are going to have semifinals activities as well. And for all teams, you still have a chance to win points and win prizes, of course, and gain points for the overall activities leaderboard prize. For the main prize, 500 euros. So don't give up, you still have a big chance. And now we can actually see the first 3 teams for the activities leaderboard. So congrats to the winners once more. And now the moment that we are all waiting for. So Miguel, who won stage 2 competition?
Yeah, that's what everybody wants to know. It's time to announce it. It's time to announce the stage 2 leaderboard, which also means announcing after that the top 13 teams that go on to the finals. So I have the top 3 teams of stage 2 here live with me today. That's Geonias, Yodas, and Shiny Pandas, not necessarily on this order. We're going to find out about that next. But before they join me, let's see that leaderboard, shall we? Okay, leaderboard is out, and Yodas from Portugal, Geonias from Colombia, and Shiny Pandas from Hungary. You can come in live, turn on those cameras, and come with me on this beautiful journey of finding out who of you won this stage. I mean, already you know that you took either the first place, the second place, or the third place, which means you're in the podium, which is a huge achievement already. So congratulations for that. Before we announce the winner, I just want to mention that this stage, we had a very, very good distribution of submissions across the 3 different challenges, meaning that the number of submissions on each challenge was very well balanced. But funny enough, all of these teams on the top 3 submitted for the same challenge, which was the optimization of soft mobility drop-off points. So there you go, coincidence or not. Now, I don't want to keep those heart rates high for too long. So let's announce the podium. In third place, we have, with 240 points, from Portugal, Yodas. Congratulations, team. Very, very, very good achievement. In second place, we have, with 243 points, so only 3 points more, Shiny Pandas from Hungary. Beautiful job, guys. Which means that in first place, we have the Colombians, Geonias, 276 points. Congratulations, everyone. This was huge. We're going to now watch the video pitch of the winning team, Geonias, and we'll come back for an exclusive interview with them once again. See you in a bit.
More than 20 years after being declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, Porto is now one of the most sought destinations in Europe. The marked increase in tourism and investing poses a significant challenge in both mobility and environmental footprint for Porto, which has been characterized by low mobility indicators and high usage of private vehicles. This is where soft mobility solutions such as scooter sharing could play an important role in the future of Porto's mobility. The municipality has implemented a significant program with over 2,000 scooters in circulation. Current trip trends show that many people leave their scooters away from allowed drop-off points. Interestingly, these locations seem to be usually close to areas of high cultural and entertainment value. This leaves a question. What if we could allocate better the parking points such that the touristic and leisure demand is better covered by soft transportation? We GeoNIAS have developed a solution that allows municipality officials to obtain better drop-off points in the context of tourism and entertainment. Let's explore the three components that make this possible. First, from historical trips data, we obtain candidate locations of possible parking based on clusters where people are currently ending their trips. This opens the possibility of having the users drive the definition of new parking points. Second, we develop an explanatory model to extract the predicted demand for an area. The model takes a patch of land and estimates the scooters that the zone might require. This model considers factors such as entertainment points of interest, proximity to the sea, population density, and availability of riding routes. With this demand model, we can cover the whole city of Porto in patches and find the demand for scooters in each area. Finally, combining both candidate parking points and demand across the city, we developed an optimization model to assign the candidate parking points such that the demand covered is maximized. In the end, we obtained an optimized allocation of parking points, which covers around 15% more demand than the current parking scheme. In practice, this means that our model allows for better coverage of demand and important leisure points. With our solution for optimized parking, Porto can be better prepared for increased mobility demand energized by tourism. Thanks for watching.
Hello, hello, hello. And here I am with GeoNIAS. Turn those cameras on, guys, if you can.
How are you?
Very good, very good. So here we are again. This time I checked, we improved our firewall. There was no hackers. Okay, so we're here again. It's on your own merit. But yeah, how are you feeling, guys, with the win?
Pretty, I guess, for me, pretty surprised. I don't know what the team thinks.
Surprised?
Yeah, I mean, do we need to in a row? I guess, I don't know. Or we found another vulnerability, maybe.
Did you, I mean, already one thing that I'm curious about is, I mean, the challenge was quite different. This challenge from stage 2 was quite different from the challenge of stage 1. Did you approach it the same way as on the other stage? Did you change your strategy somehow? How was that?
I think this time we had to do more like research on perhaps what ideas might be worth exploring in order to solve the problem. I think it was more difficult than the last one because I guess in the last one we had a bit more experience with time series and all the stuff. But I guess what remained, and for example, what you mentioned last time is that the focus on the product was perhaps what remained. So we look for, in a sense, for a product, but then also the methods that could get us to that product. So yeah. Okay. I mean, you actually, I mean, you guys got 276 points. This is a record on WDL. Not only did you guys win, but I've never seen a team achieve so many points. This is 276 out of 300. Okay. I did today. Okay, nice.
What did you think? I mean, you were telling me that the challenge was different. What about the data set? What did you think about the data this time?
Okay,
and
I
guys,
think
if you want to go around the room, feel free.
Sure. And I don't know if Juan Diego wants to talk about the data.
Okay, so basically, this time I felt that we had to look for the data, because in the previous challenge, we had more data sets like already built within the challenge that were very useful. During the second one, we had to look around the internet and build the data sets that we need. We had to go through OpenStreetMaps to pull up the information about the city. I had to make a research about census in Portugal to find information about populations. So it was more like scavenging the internet, looking for the things that might be useful.
Okay.
And trying to think what kind of data could be used.
Did you use that data also as part of the solution, or was it more for like contextualization or the social impact measurement part?
It was used in the solution. Like almost all the information that we pulled up from the internet was at the end used as an input for the models we used.
What was the time that you guys spent on research on this one? Do you have an idea, or like a percentage, like X% on research, X% on execution? Do you have an idea?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the thing we did is like we basically broke up in different tracks. So I was basically scavenging things in the internet. Other people were focusing in building the models. So basically, like it were different time frames, but they were like all running in parallel.
Okay, David, Irune.
Yeah, actually, at first when we were deciding to go, we have a couple of ideas actually, but one was more classic on the urban mobility, and the other was more out of the box solution. So we decided to go to that because it was more innovative, and the research part was mainly focusing on impact and try to get the metrics and understand what's, But yeah, both the challenges in terms of the data was more access. We did have the fixed data that it was, the challenge was around understanding the impact on the second challenge, actually, more than the data itself, I could say. So yeah, but yeah, we were having brainstorm of actually which challenge will give more possibilities to win or to make something more impactful. So the second challenge was a bit more tricky in that sense, but yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I'm happy that we're making your life a little bit harder, breaking all the records. Did you find anything on the data that could be improved? Improvements on the data, obviously, but any additional data that you thought, if only we had this, we could do this part, or not really?
Maybe like almost all the data sets we used could, in a sense, have some improvement. For example, the scooter events could be like, I guess you could, they only registered like some events, but in a sense, you could also have them like register the whole path and all the events that happened, not only special ones. And in that, we could perhaps have used that to measure the times more efficiently and to add that to the optimization model. That's one part. Also, like, I guess all the data we found on the important points of interest, leisure points could be improved. One thing that we thought might be useful in the future is to have like rankings of the different points, because right now you have a museum and it kind of weights the same or pretty close to like a cafe. So that's something that could be improved also. But yeah, no, I think the data this time was nice. Like the base data allowed for a lot of exploration and like getting ideas through to see what might work with that data, and then we just try to complement it.
You mentioned that thing about the same level of importance between like points of interest. Did you guys think about like ranking them somehow and try to enrich the data?
We thought of, for example, getting data from the Google Places API, where they actually have reviews, or it would be like also basic cleaning on that. So we cleaned like things that were too obvious, like, I don't know, tourism office or something like that.
Okay.
But we also, that's why we also implemented like other measures of like the demand for the zone, not only the density of how good is like in the number of touristic points that the zone covers, but also like other variables that could help like discern better that. Yeah.
Got it. Sorry, you were going to say something, David.
No, just that.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good because I don't have any more time, actually. Guys, let me thank you again for participating. And I mean, not really for winning, but more for bringing that next level of quality that you guys keep bringing. It's really, really good. I guess it's no spoiler to say that obviously you guys will be going on to the semifinals. So this won't be the last time that we see more of you. Not necessarily here on the live sessions, we'll see, but hopefully you guys find it interesting, the next challenge as well. So stay here to know more about it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Good to have you. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay. And now I'm back here with Alex. And I mean, we're just left with one thing to do, right? We still need to find out who will be the 13 teams that will be moving on to the semifinals of WDL. And remember, these 13 teams will be joined by 2 new teams coming from our external competition partners, DeFi and NewSet Dataton, making it a grand total of 15 teams competing. Sorry, I'm just checking for the numbers because I really don't want to mess up these numbers. It will be 15 teams competing on the semifinals. We're going to learn more about these 2 new teams in the second part with Leon. But for now, let's take a look at that final leaderboard. Okay, let's go. And there you have it, folks. These are the 13 teams that performed the best in the stage phase. They actually represent a total of 7 different countries competing, plus the international team. So congratulations, everyone, for taking the challenge of participating in WDL22. For those whose adventure ends here, it was truly a pleasure to have you. I cannot stress this enough. You're officially part of our community, which means way more than just this participation. For the teams who will continue, we'll see you on the other side. The show has just started. Now we go to a break. And after that, we will find out who are the 2 new teams that will make up the semifinals leaderboards for May, and also what the challenge and topic of the semifinals will be about. Okay? See you all after the break. And thanks, Alice, for joining me.
Hello.
There used to be a time not so long ago where doing your admin was tough. Customers throwing bags and boxes full of invoices and receipts at their accountants, it was chaos. While the world around us became more digital, new challenges in the land of accounting arose. Challenges such as organizing the huge amount of documents coming from different sources in various formats. Yet somehow all of this data did seem to get perfectly organized. In an almost magical way, automatic and intelligent transactions being pushed in real time into financial systems like Twinfield, Xero, and Sage, as well as capturing receipts and expenses on the go, and staying in control with an outstanding workflow for approving invoices. Now, what made all this possible? What is their secret? Basecone. where accounting magic happens.
Today is the first day of what yesterday we called the future. It's inevitable. And like the future, unpredictable, unstoppable. But there is one thing that we know. We're changing it now. Taking action to build the tomorrow we want. A new energy on the planet. More inclusive, shared, greener. It's in our hands. You can only change the world if you can change yourself. If you can find the will, the know, and the how. Because that's our story. To always discover a new ambition. EDP is using the power of wind, sun, and water to be 100% green and to support those who today are already changing tomorrow. EDP, changing tomorrow now.
welcome back. So now that you know what is the challenge for the semifinals, we can dive a bit into detail as per usual in the first and second stage. For this semifinals, we are going to have only one challenge, which is predicting a safety score for women in Costa Rica. And depending where you come from, you might hear a lot about gender violence in public spaces, and specifically there's a high incidence in Latin America. For this particular challenge, we will take a look at Costa Rica, where the majority of street harassment in Costa Rica were submitted by women. And the topic entity that is proposing this challenge, Urban Analytica, aims to develop an app that can characterize geographical locations in terms of safety for women in order to address poor conditions, insecurity, and gender violence in public spaces. And the outcomes that they're looking for is a safety score or a safety index, which is created through a data-driven fashion. How granular it is in terms of geographical sense, it will be completely up to you. So this is one of the difficulties in the challenge itself, and what you think that you can do in terms of the granularity. And later on, the goal is also to create a model which could predict the score into the future. The main data set that you will have is crime data, a lot of different geographical data. And of course, you are encouraged to take this geographical data from other places, such as OpenStreetMaps. And also you will have census data available to you. Now, as Miguel mentioned before, we have two teams joining from external competitions. Basically, we had two competitions that were running, not organized by us, but other great organizations. And the winners of those competitions are joining the semifinals. So that's the only number one team. And this is Got that won the competition that was organized by DeFi, and Pablitos, who won the Newset Datathon competition. So how does the semifinals will look like, and what are the important dates to remember? Well, of course, there is today that we had already the WDL show, we saw the leaderboard, and now we have the launch and we'll have the roundtable with a really great panel of experts. But already on the 5th of May, there's going to be a workshop by BaseCon on how to build an exploring environment ready for production. And then from 9th to 20th of May, there is going to be a game night, but that's in a bit, Alex will tell you all about. And then finally, the submission deadline will be at 23:59 anywhere on Earth on the 23rd of May. On the 26th of May, there is also going to be another workshop by SouthPay, which is geospatial temporal data. And Alex, maybe you want to tell a bit about the game nights?
Sure, thank you, Leon. So as Leon mentioned, we are going to have game nights this time. So 2 online live events for you. We are planning Pictionary and Quiz Night for 11 and 16 of May. Time zones and hours are still to be confirmed. So we have a poll on Discord. So if you want to have an impact on what time the activity is going to happen, please make sure to vote there. And you still can gain points for the main prize and win extra prizes for this activity. So they are going to be JetBrains licenses and ebooks as well for the winners of this activity. And of course, the points will count for the overall activities leaderboard. And a special thing, so not only participants, but also mentors and jury can join this activity. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we are going to ask questions and guest questions, not only about data science, but also about like pop culture and geography and other technology and stuff. So it's going to be lots of fun, and we are going to send more info, of course, on Discord channel soon. And Leon, besides taking part in the activities, what else our participants should pay attention to?
Well, that's a really good passage, because there is a couple of things that after looking at the feedback from the jury, that we actually saw that a lot of teams have improved from stage 1. So we hope that is due to the tips that we gave already at the finish of stage 1. If you don't know what they are, I would suggest to go back to the live session and look at it. But please do and review all those really all those valuable tips. On the other hand, we had a lot of complaints or a lot of remarks from teams that it can be a bit overwhelming in terms of data, in terms of what needs to be done, but that is the point. So it's really important to sit from the beginning and try to think, how can you deliver value to the entity that wants to solve the problem, and then prioritize what you want to do so that it becomes less overwhelming. And one of the good tips we got from one of the juries, actually, when you start thinking about the problem, think end to end. So brainstorm as a team and think about the different things you could do. So what problem do you want to solve, and how do you want to solve, through which product? And then think about the different models you could do, and then try to narrow down and try to select something you could do within the time frame that you have. And of course, you're a team, so divide and conquer. We had also another remark, and this is a lesson learned still from the previous stage, but we still have some remarks that some teams were confused on how the pitch should be structured, what should be in the pitch. And the pitch should be something that is really focused on giving an overview of what you did. On the jury, the first thing that will happen is that the jury will watch your video pitch, then they will read the executive summary, and then they will look into the code. So if you give a good overview to the jury, then it's much easier for them to understand what is in the rest of the documentation. A good formula for this, it's just to say we solved A by building B for C, and we hope it has an impact of D. And of course, this in 3 minutes and a bit longer than in this small sentence that I just said. Now we have another announcement, really big announcement. It's that the finals actually are going to be in person in Lisbon. So what does this mean? That means that we will also be helping you with some of the costs in case you're a finalist. So we will sponsor traveling expenses per participants with some criteria. If your team is from Portugal or your team members, then we will sponsor up to 100 euros the travel expenses. If you're from Europe, up to 300, and from the rest of the world, up to 500 per participant. Of course, all these expenses must be previously approved by World Data League, and when you choose your mode of travel, it should be the most efficient and economical mode of travel with public transport. We will share the complete guidelines for this before the end of the semifinals, and all the food and accommodation when you arrive to Lisbon will be also provided by World Data League. One thing to note also besides this, don't forget that if your team does pass to the finals, you also will receive a prize of 500 euros for the whole team. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And with that being said, I think now it's time for the roundtable. So I want to encourage you to ask any questions that you might have directly on the YouTube stream, and let's kick it off. And welcome back, everyone. So we have a really great panel of speakers for this roundtable. And unfortunately, if you know how to count until 4, you will see that we have one person missing. Unfortunately, Stefan was going to join us from an airport, but then his terminal changed from Terminal 4 to Terminal 1, so he went running there. I hope that he can still join us and give us some of his insights. But otherwise, we still have with us Ariella, who is from Urban Analytica, and Tove from the project Her City. And maybe we'll start with Ariella, since you're from Urban Analytica, and Urban Analytica is proposing the challenge. So maybe you can just give a brief introduction about yourself and Urban Analytica and what you do, so the participant can have a context.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria. Actually, Ariella was supposed to be here today, but she had some voice issues. So we're both co-founders of Urban Analytica. This is an organization that was born in 2019. We're both from Costa Rica, and we just shared some passion for our country and to try to understand the urban issues that are affecting it. We both graduated from urban planning and policy design in Politecnico di Milano, so we were living here in Europe. And as part of these theses, we both kind of started off and thought, let's do something to try to bring value to our country. So actually our main goal in Urbanalytica is to provide a collaborative platform of urban innovation. That way we can facilitate knowledge sharing between more advanced urban contexts. Right now we're based in Milan, and we're learning from the experiences here in Europe, and we try to translate them to Costa Rica, which many of you might heard of it. We're very proud of our country. It's a global reference on sustainability. But however, it's facing many issues in the urban planning arena. And it has been a really nice trip, because at the beginning we were only Ariela and I, but then we were able to develop this collaborative network of professionals and researchers from different areas who are seeking to create also an impact in this field of urban sustainability.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maria. And I apologize, I called you Ariela. I think it was already automatic mode.
Yeah.
Tove, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. You're from the project Her City, and actually, fun fact, Urbanalytica, I think, I don't know if it was 1 year or 2 years ago, you actually attended a Her City workshop for starting the project. So yeah. I think it was actually a really great mix. So Tove, maybe you can tell a bit about Her City, what is the project, and what are your aims?
Absolutely. Very, very nice coincidence to meet here, Maria. My name is Tove Levonen, and I am project manager at the independent Swedish-based think tank Global Utmaning. It's Global Challenge in English. And together with UN Habitat, we have developed the Her City Toolbox, which is a digital innovation platform and toolbox that promotes girls and young women's participation in urban planning and design processes. And the aim is to create sustainable and inclusive cities. And I hope that I can tell you a bit more and inspire you all that are participating in this competition challenge. But the reason why we started the Her City was that, as you all know, people are living in cities increasingly, and by 2050, 70% will. And this brings enormous challenges when it comes, not least in terms of inequality, and girls and young women are most vulnerable to these kind of challenges, and especially in socioeconomic vulnerable areas. And research shows that the participation in this kind of process creates opportunities for more inclusive and equal and sustainable urban development. So that is why we wanted to develop the Her City Toolbox, to bridge between the knowledge gap of theory and practice. So we decided to do a global mapping of best practices in 2017, because we saw that there was very good methods and very good tools moving around in the world, but they weren't collected. So we gathered all of the tools and methods that we could find, and we tested them in a pilot project in Sweden called Urban Goals Movement. And that is now the open source innovation platform that is Her City. And we have 125 initiatives around the world, and different tools and methods are being developed, such as your own, inspired by the Her City process. So that is what we do, and that is why. I'll stop there.
Nice. Thank you so much. No, it sounds like you achieved a lot of amazing results as well. So maybe let's then first look at this from the perspective of Costa Rica, and then maybe Tove, you can give some insights actually from a global perspective. So Maria, none of our participants are from Costa Rica. Not that many are from Latin America. So maybe if you could, in your own words, kind of paint an issue, paint the current issues for women's safety in Costa Rica and why this challenge is important. I think it will also help them a lot in this challenge.
Yeah, of course. So basically, in the last 2 years with Analytica, we've been focusing on a project that is very, very close to our hearts, which is Safe Cities for Women in Costa Rica, because this is an issue that regards violence against women and girls in public spaces. And we've seen that it has gotten worse and worse after a year. And we know that this is not only a reality in Costa Rica, but also throughout the whole Latin American region. Also, we know that there are very poor conditions in public spaces, and they don't offer what like good quality for women and girls in terms of there's a lack of adequate urban infrastructure, but also in terms of policies and governance models. And then we have the whole issue on the lack of data in the region that just exacerbates the problem. So it's very difficult to put numbers into an issue for policymakers to actually do something. I've told Leonida many times that thankfully last year in August, not last year, 2020, I'm still living with 1 year lag. But in Costa Rica, there was a law against street harassment. And it was approved to try to guarantee the right to freely transit and enjoy public spaces for all. So with this law, the issue became into light, more or less, and a lot of groups that came from the citizens started doing more actions towards bringing light to the issue. So with this project, Safe Cities for Women in Costa Rica, we're hoping to bring light also. And hopefully with this challenge, participants can create an easy and understandable indexes, as you probably will see in the instructions, with public open data to show the degree of the problem and where safety is a concern. So we want to be able to give policymakers some solutions to better allocate resources, which in Latin America, inequalities are growing in so much. So I just hope to give an overview of the problems that we have. But of course, if you have any questions regarding something more specific on the country, I'm here. I will be available, of course.
Thank you, Maria, so much. And probably maybe this could be a good question for you. It's that when we talk to the participants, we also ask them to think about, try to think how you could scale this solution, or try to think, so what else could be done? Could it be applied in other cities? Could it be applied in other places, in other countries? So I think the question to you is more of a generalized one. How common is this problem of safety for women, and also especially when talking about gender-based violence?
It's a global problem. The situation that Maria describes in Costa Rica, it's the same no matter where you are, really. Gendered public spaces in general, and women feel an increased sense of unsafety and inaccessibility and sexual harassment in public spaces. And it's a very big issue, but this is where the urban planning and collecting data and getting the numbers and having girls and women being part of collecting the data and analyzing the challenges is really key to understand how intertwined all these issues are really. But what we have found when we have the 125 initiatives, but we have 12 that we follow more closely. And safety is an issue in all of them. Even though we have different focuses, we always talk about safety, and it's something that comes up when girls and women are being part of this kind of process. But the thing is that the solutions that are proposed then by the girls and women look the same no matter where you are. And that's quite fascinating, I think. And it's often the softer solutions. It's not a more security or stuff like that. It's different kind of values that creates a safer environment. And I think that's quite inspiring.
Well, you mentioned something interesting there, that it's also when we're talking about urban planning, that it can also have an impact on women's safety. Maybe you could give a couple of examples, because I know the participants will need to look into risk factors, and those could be really interesting examples, I think.
Yeah, we usually don't talk about safety as an own topic. We talk about how girls and women can be part of the decision making and how that will inform the governing of the city and form how a place actually looks and how it functions. So that's what we focus on, and safety is an added value. So you can, when you add a gender dimension to concepts as road safety or landscaping or transport, it improves the conditions for women in that environment, and it becomes more safe. And like participatory and evidence-based planning, where women and girls are consulted, will result in more user-friendly spaces, and it increases the feeling of safety among women. In the projects that we've done, when it has a strong impact on safety, with like proper safety measures like street lighting, signage, traffic lights, and zebra crossings, and all of those like hard facts, and pedestrian streets and free Wi-Fi areas and such like that, has a very good impact on the safety of women. But also the long-term effects from like building community, like libraries and stages and outdoor theaters, also increases the sense of safety, and also like areas to relax and chill and being safe in your own space. That really helps.
Perfect. And Maria, maybe do you have also an opinion around this, or do you have any contribution?
No, of course. As Tov was mentioning, the input of girls and women, it's just super necessary in order to for long-term solutions to this issue. So the citizen participation it should be on the top of any sort of intervention, urban intervention that should be done in public spaces, and thinking, and also just giving as some tips for the participants, that when thinking about this in gender perspective, it's also you should also consider the well-being. You know, it's as Tov was mentioning, not only safety, but it's the well-being of women and children. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And maybe one more question then. Also in this challenge, the participants will look at crime reports and use geographical data to predict possible unsafe locations. So this is a bit related to the previous question. And based on this, and basically based on this geographical data, such as point of interests, they will try to come up with some score. What do you expect the participants to find, or how do you expect this to play out from your gut feeling, so to say?
Mm-hmm. Well, as like the first question that came into our mind when collecting all the data sets that were open and public, is that, can we create a measurable and scalable gender safety index? So the idea is that we would like to know what are the places that are more unsafe in this case, but more importantly, what are the variables that carry more weight when creating this sort of index? So as you'll see in the second part of the challenge, we were also asking ourselves, like, can we predict and scale it down or scale it up to other cities and locations outside of Costa Rica? Because as Dov was mentioning, this is a worldwide issue. But there are specificities within regions that, and also in Latin America, where lack of data is one of our biggest issues. So we just like to have something clear and simple and homogeneous, and always thinking that it would be aimed to provide policymakers with some specific solutions to where it's better to allocate resources, as I was saying. And we know that the data from citizens is super important. So in Urban Analytica, we're trying to create an app for collecting this type of data, but hopefully by creating a baseline, more people, but also local governments, municipalities might get interested in improving some of the conditions of the place where they inhabit. So as I was mentioning at the beginning, since inequalities in Costa Rica are very high, for me, it wouldn't be a surprise to see that some of the districts with the poorest conditions can end up with very low scores. But more interestingly than just seeing a score or an index would be to see the prediction factor with the time. So there are measures that actually municipalities can take to improve the set scores, let's say. But yeah, that's it from my side.
Thank you. Tove, maybe also the same question to you. How do you see this, or what would you imagine that the participants would find?
It's hard to say. I don't know. I think it might be surprising that they don't see the same issues as an outsider does, because once you feel comfortable in a public space or in an area, you see different things. But it will be interesting to follow and see what the challenge results in, and what the participants say.
Okay. Maybe then one other interesting question is, looking already at your own experience. So of course we will provide them with already some crime data, quite some crime data. We will also provide the participants with quite some geolocalized data. But is there any other data sources that come to your mind that it could be interesting for them to check or to look at?
There are so many resources actually, but I would suggest them to check her city toolbox for sure. It's I think it's a great starting point to just to understand the degree of the problem as well, because it sets it gives a very nice framework of this type of issue. There are also some initiatives and some apps that had already tried to create something similar for their own city. So experiences from Safety Pin, for example, that is an app that it has been used in India, in Colombia, in different cities. So there are many resources, but these ones for me would be like a very good starting point.
Anything you would recommend, Tove?
Surprisingly, the same recommendation. I would recommend everyone to go to her city because we've gathered so many tools, and just looking at what people that have developed this kind of apps before have looked at. I think it could be good. You have Safe Dependence, you mentioned Safe Cities, the COBA toolbox. You have many different data collecting tools. So I think that's a good first step.
Thank you so much. And there is also a question from one of the participants. So is there actually an estimation of how often crime against women in Costa Rica go unreported, or are there initiatives to help women in Costa Rica come forward safely?
Well, honestly, this is a topic that has been brought to light very, very recently because women in general were not very, very keen to expose when they were being harassed in the streets or in the public spaces, because there was not a law protecting them. So since now there is, and there is a punishment for the aggressors and a whole process, in the last couple of years, we've been seeing that there is more women coming forward to these issues, but since not, so I would say that police statistics are not, don't go back in time that much for me to give you a clear number on that. But one of the data sets that we have is from the police reports of the sexual harassment law of last year. So we have that data. It's not, of course, it's not many, but I would just also suggest you to use that one to just see the whole picture, and at least see how it just started with 1 year of this law being in place.
Thank you so much. Then maybe one more question is, so if the participants would be looking to literature, so just to get a bit of an idea of how big the problem is, of also understanding what might be the root causes of the problem, or trying to, I mean, in general, is there anything, I mean, and we already discussed, of course, about the Her City Toolbox and that data, but thinking more about scientific literature, if there's anything that comes to your mind or anything that you can remember, anything you'd recommend?
From my side, there are many papers that you can read on building safer public spaces and exploring gender difference in the perception of safety in public space through urban design interventions, like in specific cases. So just go to Science Direct or El Visor, and you'll find, just put the keywords, all the scientific literature is there.
Okay, what about you?
I'm like a broken record now. We have a literature list on the Her City website.
No, but that's great. That's great to know. That's great to know.
So I would recommend that.
That is great to know. That is good. And maybe one more question. So, and regarding also specifically this challenge, how do you see that it's? Oh, just a second. I think Stefan is also here. Stefan, can you? Oh, perfect. That's great that we have you, Stefan. Thank you so much for coming. I already explained to the participants that you are going to be a bit late. So to give you a bit of context, we already discussed, so in general, the problem of women's safety in cities, how urban planning could also help it. We also discussed what kind of safety risks they should be looking into, the participants, what Maria and Toby also would expect the participants to find out from this challenge. And maybe, I guess you already checked the challenge brief a bit and have an idea of the challenge. So maybe you could just give a, let's say, 2-3 minute of your own overview on this challenge. And I don't know if you'll be able to answer all the questions, but at least like kind of.
Sure. And I again apologize the travel, and I hope it's not too noisy here because I'm in, as Leonid might have told everyone, I'm in the airport at the moment and I had to switch terminals, and it's always a pleasure to go through customs twice in a day. Anyway, I think my main humble and parochial contributions are basically based upon some of the work that we've been doing in Santiago de Chile as a result of trying to understand to what extent is urban mobility gendered, and to what extent does also, if one has a more gendered approach to urban mobility, how can we then also understand some of the challenges with regard to gender-based violence within an urban setting, right? Because a lot of the gender violence is quite often a result of how we actually structure urban mobility and how we create unsafe places for women and children, for that matter, to go. Because I think that's one of the key, perhaps, of the insights that you might want to look into is also to what extent is there also a correlation with regard to children's safety and gender safety in general, because one might argue that if it's safe for children, then it might be safe for also gender from a gender perspective as well. Now, a key element in our findings there, where we used a whole range of data sets, including telecom data, in order to understand how actually different people were moving around, and also trying to understand, anyway, what's the difference between male and female as it relates to moving around, and what's the perception of safety that informs that. I think there are a few key insights here. One is, of course, that visibility matters, and I think that probably has already been mentioned on set occasions, but I think it would be good to at least get a sense in the data sets, or at least in the overall kind of urban setting mapping, to what extent is there a level of visibility. And visibility, that means quite often being able to be seen by others, which increases automatically a sense of safety. But here is the trick, is that when it becomes too crowded, then actually the visibility quotients go down, and it becomes again a dangerous place. And so it's about what is actually the ultimate kind of ideal scenario where you are seen, but also where it's not too crowded as well. The other aspects with visibility is quite often knowing, having good signage, because quite often, anyway, if there is no clear indication on where to go, then that creates confusion, it creates unsafe experiences, and that could be abused in a variety of contexts as well. Just a few other elements very quickly, because I'm sensitive to the time here, is that presence matters too, which is anyway, being able with others quite often, as already mentioned, is a key element. What we found is that a sense of cleanliness and a sense of maintenance of urban spaces contributes to a sense of safety and to safety as well as availability of service. I mean, there are a lot of studies regarding to so-called potty parity, i.e. to what extent do female residents have equal access to, for instance, public toilets. And that's a key element with regard to increased safety concerns if there are no public toilets that are easily and are clean in order to have access to. And last but not least, perhaps, anyway, I had like 15 elements here, but I'm gonna just highlight a few. But the last element, I think, is that as you are accessing criminal statistics, I think it might be good to also really document what type of violence are we talking about. Because it's not just gender violence in a public space. It turns out that urban settings also contributes to domestic violence, and that actually how a city is organized increases sometimes domestic violence as well, and that also, of course, the experience of violence is different depending on quite often your race or ethnic background. And I think it might also be good because a lot of the gender-based violence is actually hate crimes as well. And I think it might be good to also get a better sense on how that plays out in the data set. Again, I realize I probably just repeated what Maria and Tove already had identified and raised based upon all their wonderful work here. But these are just some headlines that perhaps are useful to take into account as you are looking into data and as you're looking into how to design urban settings that are safe for women and children as well.
Thank you so much, Stefan. And maybe one last question before we go to the final tips, because we have 2 minutes left. So there's a question from the participants, Maria, do you know what is the ratio of men to women participation in policy making in Costa Rica?
The ratio, I'm not very sure right now, but from what I remember last, I think it should be
just a rough estimate.
I would say that 3 or 4 out of 10. Let's say.
So 3 to 4 to 10. Okay, thank you. So as you can see in the little counter that's counting, depending on how you're looking at the screen, we have 1.5 minutes left. So maybe just if each of you could leave maybe 1 or 2 tips for the participants, as per usual in these sessions, and then we can finish there.
Well, I can start. I think that I've heard it many times, also throughout the whole World Data League competition. But guys, just have fun. Try to think outside of the box. Nothing is set in stone. So I think that it's very valuable if you try to see it from a different perspective, and also depending on your own experience as well. I would just suggest you to think and also speak with women and children that are close to you to try to understand the issues better.
And maybe quickly, Tove.
I agree with Maria. Engage women and girls as experts very early in the process to understand, because a key part of building inclusive cities for all is ensuring a nuanced understanding of how the different groups are affected by the challenges. So that will be my number 1 tip.
Stefan, 1 tip?
Yeah, no, I think the key challenge with anything related to gender is the challenge of disaggregated data and the availability of disaggregation. Quite often, anyway, women are not visible because we don't have that level of disaggregation. So think about out of the box indeed on how you can actually identify proxies quite often for disaggregation that still will give you a sense on differences from a gender perspective.
Thank you so much to all the 3 of you. For the participants, I think the challenge brief and the data should be already available on the portal. Good luck. And again, thank you, Maria. Thank you, Tove. Thank you, Stefan. It's always a pleasure to have you. And good luck.
Thank you, and sorry for being late. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.
There used to be a time not so long ago where doing your admin was tough. Customers throwing bags and boxes full of invoices and receipts at their accountants, it was chaos. While the world around us became more digital, new challenges in the land of accounting arose. Challenges such as organizing the huge amount of documents coming from different sources in various formats. Yet somehow all of this data did seem to get perfectly organized. In an almost magical way, automatic and intelligent transactions being pushed in real time into financial systems like Twinfield, Xero, and Sage, as well as capturing receipts and expenses on the go, and staying in control with an outstanding workflow for approving invoices. Now, what made all this possible? What is their secret? Basecone, where accounting magic happens.
Today is the first day of what yesterday we called the future. It's inevitable. And like the future, unpredictable, unstoppable. But there is one thing that we know. We're changing it now. Taking action to build the tomorrow we want. A new energy on the planet. More inclusive, shared, greener. It's in our hands. You can only change the world if you can change yourself. If you can find the will, the know, and the how. Because that's our story. To always discover a new ambition. EDP is using the power of wind, sun, and water to be 100% green and to support those who today are already changing tomorrow. EDP, changing tomorrow now.